Hi Newton friends, welcome to my little apothecary studio. This is my first time doing a studio tour. I've been waiting basically years to do this tour. I've had this studio set up for about 4 years now, and it just never was quite the way I wanted it to be. And now it's finally come together and it looks more like the apothecary-style studio that I was hoping it to be. Also, if you're new here, my name is Mushy. I co-run this channel with my best friend Newt, and we are artists and whimsical adults who just love to share what we do and what we make and all of our creative thoughts and ideas and everything like that. So let's begin the tour. This is my apothecary studio. And just a disclaimer, I am a very type B personality, so for some of you this might look like a very disorganized mess, but for me, I know exactly where everything is and it's in a certain way that only I would know where to find things, and anyone else coming in here would be absolutely lost. So just keep that in mind while you're watching. And also, I'll probably be repeating myself and saying that a lot of the stuff in this room is from Newt, and that's just because a lot of the stuff in this room is from Newt. So if you just keep hearing me say, Newt got me this, Newt got me this, and this is here because Newt made this. Yeah, she's my best friend, so she's gonna be talked about a lot. So anyways, let's start the tour. So first off on our tour, I wanted to show you my dresser here. It is one of my favorite pieces in my studio. I think it kind of brings more of that apothecary look into it, especially with like how the handles are. Of course, it's not an actual apothecary cabinet with all the multiple drawers. I mean, there are a lot of drawers in it, but it's not the square specific drawers that like this one that you would see. But those are kind of hard to find, and when you do find them, they're really expensive. But I found this dresser for $200 on Facebook Marketplace, which you could look at as being a lot, but it is all solid wood and very well made. And I ended up looking up how much this dresser was actually worth and looking up the specific brand of it. And it's actually a $2,000 dresser. So it actually worked out perfect, and I think I got a really good deal. So it had some scratches on the top of it and like on some of the drawers, so I did refurbish it a bit, and I stained the top of it a little darker than the rest of it, which I really like how that came out. I think it looks really good. And I don't think I did anything else to it, but one of my favorite features on this dresser is actually, so you see these drawers here. Obviously, these are drawers. And then up here are some hidden drawers that you can pull out. And I think they were for jewelry and stuff like that, because they have like these velvet pieces in them where you can put stuff. So I really love the fact that it has hidden drawers. I just think that's awesome. So on my cabinet, dresser, whatever, I call it my cabinet because I use it more like a cabinet than a dresser. There's no clothes in it. Actually, that's not true. There is cloth. Anyways, this is my Cricut machine, and I usually make all my stickers on this, and sometimes I'll make vinyl printouts to put on shirts and stuff like that, but mainly it's for making stickers. I did make this little guy here, and I have my little cassette player here. Newt and I got into doing cassettes or listening to cassettes. With this one, you can create mixtapes with it. So I have my favorite mixtape in here, which is my Arcane mixtape that I made. And I think it's really fun. You can personalize them, which I made with my Cricut machine. And yeah, I usually am playing this while I'm working, just that specific tape. And over here, we got my little mushroom wax melter, which my sister-in-law got me. Actually, let's turn it on. Get a little ambiance. It's so cute, look at that. It's so cute. We also have this little cabinet here that does bring a little more apothecary vibes into it. I have a lot of clay in here, which I think I've moved actually a lot of it, so I actually don't think I have a lot of clay in here. There's just like a random bits and bobs that are in this. This drawer here, I have these letters that are correspondence between Newt and I. A few years ago, we started writing to each other as if we were like living in like the old fantasy times. And we would talk about like our different discoveries of fairies and dragons and stuff like that, just to keep creative and just do something fun and receive letters from each other, which was really fun to do. And then in this drawer, I have all my sewing stuff. And yeah, there's a lot of random things in there. In this one, I have little tiny potion bottles, which I just use in various projects. A lot of things that I have in here are just for like future projects. I guess I'm a bit of a hoarder. I will collect random things and be like, someday I'll use this. And actually, usually I do. So it's a good thing I keep doing it. On top of this is my little pumpkin that I carved out. It's a foam pumpkin, and I carved out the foam in it and did a little fairy, I guess you'd call it a diorama, but I'd call it a fairy house. And I have like a table and bookshelf and chair that I made out of just different materials, like pieces of wood and clay and all that stuff. And I think this came out really cool, and I like to display it around Halloween time out in the main living area. Also in this corner is all my camera stuff that I hide with this giant elephant that I think I got on sale after Valentine's Day, and I was like, this is cute. I'm gonna take it home. What am I gonna do with it? I don't know. And then I was like, oh, this will hide all of the camera junk in the corner. If you didn't know, I used to be a videographer, and I have a lot of camera equipment just laying around. A lot of it I don't even use anymore, but that's okay. I have it, and sometimes there'll be random things that I need it for, and it's just good to have around. So I can't get rid of it. I can't get rid of anything. All right, now let me show you what is in this giant dresser and how I organize it. So first and foremost, in this tiny little drawer here, I have just random things. It's really random, but I know it makes sense to me. So I have scissors in here, I have a lighter in here, I have this battery pack in here, and I have fabric glue. I'm sure you're wondering why. Why put those things in this drawer? You know what, I couldn't tell you why, but in my head, it makes sense, and I know exactly where to find these things. I also have wax stamps in this drawer. Onto my main big drawer here. In this drawer, I have all my clay stuff. I really love Cos clay. That's my favorite clay to use for all my different creations now these days. It's a very flexible clay, so it doesn't crumble after you bake it. I don't ever get cracks in it, which is amazing. And it's translucent, so I can put different colors in it and make it whatever color I want. So this is my go-to. And I have like 6 of them in here because I needed to stock up, and Amazon kept running out, so I just went to their website and just bought a whole bunch of them. I have some tin foil in here, which I use for various projects when I'm making clay. I have my pastels in here, which I use to color clay, whether it's on top or coloring the translucent clay. I have my cotton swabs, which I use to clean the clay. This is kind of my clay drawer. Everything I work with clay goes in here. This is some air dry clay, which I keep in a bag to keep it so it doesn't dry out, which it probably is dried out. And then I have some more Q-tips, and these are the pointed Q-tips. I recommend having both because just the rounded Q-tips don't get the nice details. Pointed ones do, but the rounded Q-tips get bigger areas. So it's kind of important to have both. So I have some gloves in here, which I use when I'm working with resin. And I have my different keychain attachments in here as well. I also have a little inventory of charms in here. And if you saw my week in the life video last year, this is what came of it. It was all these. And did I ever do a market after that? No, I did not. So now I just have these. So that's it for that drawer. So on to the next one below it. This is basically my fairy house drawer. In my mind, I have my fairy lights in here and all my dried flowers and leaves and stuff that I might add to a fairy house that I make. I also have dried mushrooms in here. And for some reason, I have my stamp that I put on my packages in here, which I kind of hate, but it's what I have for now. On to my last drawer. This is like my Cricut paper goods drawer. So a lot of my Cricut stuff is in here. Stuff that I would use for stickers, this for cutting paper, all this paper that I cut. I am very much a don't throw things away type of person because that's a waste. So when I have an Etsy order, a lot of times it just has like this extra piece that I have to cut off when I'm printing out a label. So I just keep all of them and use it for scrap paper. Then this is my self-adhesive laminating sheets that I use on my stickers. I started using these more recently. Before I was using different things and they just really weren't working out, but I found this to be the best thing to use when making my stickers. And I have my Cricut cutting sheets in here. I have some foam because I thought it would be really cool to make a stamp and it wasn't. So now I just have foam. There's more scrap paper, lots of scrap paper. I have my heat gun in here. Why? I don't know. And then I have some black paper, just because. Why? I don't know. And then I have this cloth in here that I've used for different projects, this felt. And then I think I have some vinyl adhesive that I use for t-shirts and stuff in there, somewhere hidden in there. But you know what? I know where everything is. It might look disorganized to you, but to me, this makes perfect sense. This is my liquids drawer, as I like to think of it. We've got my resin, Mr. Resin in here. I recently just purchased this UV resin because it has a very low viscosity and I think it potentially could be a little bit better than Mr. Resin. I feel like so many artists have said that Mr. Resin is the best and I don't believe it. So I'm testing out different things because I'm just not convinced that it's the best. I have not seen that it's better than other resins that I use and it's kind of thick. So I think it kind of takes away from some of the pieces and their different details in them. So I thought maybe a lower viscosity UV resin might be a little better for showing off those details since it'll be a little thinner. This was the old UV resin that I used to use. I don't really use it anymore, but I haven't found that it was any worse or different than Mr. Resin. So that's why I'm convinced that Mr. Resin is not the best. Here's some tacky glue just for random projects. Some polyurethane. And here is acetone, 100% pure acetone. It has to be 100% pure acetone and nothing else because this is what removes dust and fingerprints and stuff after you bake clay. So it's important to have something like this when you're working with clay. A lot of people will use alcohol to remove stuff like that before they bake the clay. But I found that that can be a little tricky to use and sometimes can ruin pieces. And even after you bake pieces, you might still have something in there. So you want to have acetone to remove it. This is some clay glue. It hardens when you bake it. Here's some stain. I tend to stain a lot of things when I'm making fairy houses. I usually stain things like popsicle sticks to make like flooring or something like that. Next up, we have my tape drawer, I like to think of it. This is where I store a lot of my tape stuff and packaging, I guess. Here's not tape, but mounting putty, which I use for decorating and sticking things, and I don't know. I use it all the time, actually, and I couldn't even really tell you what I use it for exactly, but I use it all the time. This is for sticking labels on packages, mainly. That's all I use it for. This is also for packaging. I usually wrap my creations with this just to give it some extra protection. And then underneath that, I have some journaling stuff and random things like this. I don't even know what's in there. And yeah, for this one, this is a drawer that doesn't really make any sense at all. But to me, I know everything's in there. So I'm not really going to explain it, but that's that drawer. And then in this drawer, whoop, we just have my packaging envelopes. And really that's all that's in there. I think I've kept like some cards from people that I've bought from. And then that's it. And I need to fill this back up because this is getting kind of low. So, hi, I'm down here now. We're on the other side of the dresser. And I wanted to show you my least favorite drawer in this dresser because it's just like messy. And I really enjoyed doing resin when I did it, but now resin to me is it's just gross. And it sticks to everything and it's hard to clean. So a lot of the stuff in here just has like resin stuck to it and it bothers me and I don't like it. So this is my least favorite drawer. I don't use very much in here anymore. From time to time, I'll find that I do need something in here. I did used to use these quite a bit for dyeing clay, and then I figured out that it makes it pretty sticky and hard to work with. So I don't really use these much anymore. I use pastels or some type of mica powder. I have been using this lately, which is my D&D dice mold. I've been making D&D dice, which is a lot of fun, but I haven't completely figured out how to make it without having bad bubbles or just not looking right. Anything else to mention in here? Not really. On to my next drawer. This is my paint drawer. I have all my paint supplies in here. Well, all the paint supplies that I am not currently using practically every day. Everything in the cabinet is things that I don't use every day. Everything that I use every day is near my desk, which I'll show you later. So we have these paint palettes here, which I'll probably start using soon as my paint palette is getting a little gunky. And I have this bag, which I'll probably end up putting my paintbrushes in because it's a really cute bag and I want to use it and it'll keep things together. And then we have markers. They're just permanent markers that Nuke got me. And yeah, I don't really do watercoloring much anymore, but I have a lot of watercoloring stuff in here. I want to get back into it someday, but I haven't really had time. So hopefully one day we will do watercolors again. This drawer here is very stuffed. It's a little hard to open. I have all my crochet stuff in here. I have yarn and pipe cleaners and eyeballs and all that stuff is in here. But yeah, that's pretty much, well, that drawer. I don't want to take anything out because it'll be hard to put back. Before moving on from this side, I did want to talk about some of the art that's on my wall. So first off, I wanted to talk about this painting here, which I did with Newt, and we did one of those like add ghosts to an old painting kind of thing. And we took a day where we watched over the garden wall and did these together. She did a painting and we did this virtually, which was, I mean, it's great that you can do stuff like that virtually. I didn't paint on an actual painting, it's just a print of a painting, but it was really old and faded and there was a lot of like that blue, like faded color on it and like greens. So I made it more fall colors and then added a few ghosts in there. You can see one in the house and in the yard over here, and this one is holding a barrel thing at a well. I think originally there was a boy here and I just painted over him. And I think that was just such a fun thing to do. I actually have another painting down on the floor that I want to do the same thing with and add little ghosts to, but I just have not done that yet. It has like a train on it. Maybe I'll show you later, I don't know. And then we have this print here that Newt got for me that is from an artist on Instagram that I cannot remember her name right now. I want to say it's like Ghost World is her Instagram name, but I'm not exactly sure. But she makes like the cutest little creations with little ghosts, and it really reminds me of like Charlie Brown kind of comics, the way that she colors it and everything. And they're just so cute, and I love this one. And I love the colors in it too. And then over here, this Newt also got me, and I love this one because it has like the little butts on the mushrooms, and I just think it's so funny. And it also kind of inspired me to add little butts on some of my Peak Pals, which I have not talked about in a YouTube video yet. Over here, you can actually see them. These are my little Peak Pals that I make. And here, I'll show the camera. A Peak Pal. There you go. This is a Peak Pal. They stick to your phone, your laptop, anything that has like a flat surface, and they just stick there. And they got little booties. That painting inspired me to add those because butts are cute. Just, they are. I'm gonna say it. And then we have this Abby Toad print here. I love Abby Toad's artwork. She does amazing things. She makes the cutest little mushroom guys and frogs. And this is like an over the garden wall reference. They're just like the two brothers, which is so cute. Newt got me this one. The artist is written on here. It's something Lewis. I can't really read what the first name is, but I really like this one because it's so cute. It's like a little mushroom fairy creature. It's adorable. And then I got this one from I think it was from a Ren fair. There was a vendor selling some artwork, and I got this one here because it has gnomes and a fairy house and dragons, which are all things I love. And then I think she also made this one here that's just like a ghost fall time thing with mushrooms. And then I made that one up there this past fall. I did like a 3D painting thing. I wanted it to be like two ghosts holding hands because I thought that was cute. Over on that side, there is a painting of the little gnomes, and that was created by no other than Newt. And she just painted that for me because I love gnomes. Here's my nice little plant here. It's growing okay. I'm not very good at taking care of plants, so it's hanging in there. It's grown, which is something, but yeah, that's as much as I can say about that plant. My other plant that's on the wall over here, which I'll show you right now because we're ready to move on. This plant is on its last leg. I kind of forgot to water it for quite a while, and then I found it and it was just like withered. It was struggling. I was able to water it, bring it into the sunlight, and it came back, but it lost a lot of its leaves. It was doing well for a while, and now it's struggling. It's not looking great, but hopefully I can rejuvenate it and help it to come back. We'll see. So on this wall over here, we have my couch, which I don't really use it often, but I sometimes sit in. Mr. Newt sits here sometimes while I craft, which is nice. And then I have all these prints from different artists that I love. And I just liked having all these like fairy creatures hung up in my little apothecary. I think it gives it a nice vibe. But here's my little shelf of just like little knickknacks and things I might use for projects, such as glue for a hot glue gun. I got this from my friend from Kenya. She brought this back when she went to visit. And then she also brought back all these knickknacks here. They're kind of heavy too. And these were all made there. And I love these. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're very solid. And then here's just some dried flowers that I have that I use in projects. some moss, which I use in practically everything. Moss is just, there's something about moss that just brings it together, you know? And then I created these hooks here to put lamps on the walls, so you'll see on both sides I have these lamps. And then on this lamp over here, there's like a silhouette cutout of over the garden wall, different like scenes. So that's pretty cool. Here I have this anatomy drawing of a fairy, and I have it in like a little box thing. And then on top of that is a broom that I made after visiting Salem with Newt, and we got like all the different materials from like a broom making shop, and then I made that. And then on my couch here is a lot of just stuffed animals and pillows. I got this with Newt at Christmas time, and we went to the Vermont Teddy Bear Factory and we picked out our stuffed animals that we wanted and bought them for each other. And then we got this here that Newt made me for Christmas this past year. It's a little slug. I like to repeat the line from Epic when he's like, I'm a slug. And every time I see this, I just go, I'm a slug. And she put lavender in it, so it smells really nice and it's like calming and so cozy. It's really cute. I love how like just slug it is. I made this one. He's supposed to have ears, but I think when I was making him, I made him wrong and did not follow the instructions. And I made him like twice the size he was supposed to be. So I didn't end up making ears for him because I was mad about how he came out, and then I just gave up. And then I don't think I ever made another one of these. I was gonna make a bunch of them, and after this one I said nope. Next up we have this little snow bunny here, and Mr. Newt got this for me for Christmas, and it's really cute. I think I'm gonna end up making a little Peak Pal guy that looks like this, and he just like will hang over your phone like that. And it's so cute. I'm just gonna make him look kind of like this. And then I have an ugly doll. Actually, Newt got me this ugly doll in like 2nd grade, and I still have it, and I still love it. And my mom just found it at her house, so I brought it back here with me, and now I have it on my couch. And that's it for this wall. On this wall, I have my little like vine light thing, which I love. That gives it more of a magical feel in here. And then I have my little canvas apron that I use when I don't want to get like stuff on my shirt or pants or anything. I have some dried flowers. I have dried flowers all around the room. And then I have a few creations here. And on this shelf, I have like a bunch of fantasy and fairy themed books. Some of them I have created book covers for with faux leather, so they look a little more vintage, like this one. And this is my Spiderwick field guide book. If you don't know what Spiderwick is and you're a fantasy lover, I recommend looking it up, reading the books, watching the movie, and getting the guidebook, because the guidebook has like the most incredible images in it, and I just love it. This guy here is a common house brownie, and then it has like all these facts about the common house brownie. And I've actually, if you can see here, have painted some of the creations that are in here just to kind of get a better feel of how to paint like they do in here, because the images are just incredible. Like, look at that. It's a Caribbean mermaid. The colors are beautiful. There's so much detail. Amazing, amazing work. Probably my favorite guidebook. And then this book here is probably one of the most special books to me. It was my mother's book, and she loved little gnomes too, and she had this book for years and years, and she would show it to me when I was little and like show me all the fairies. And this has beautiful artwork in it too, like you can just see, and it has like all these facts about the gnomes and all this stuff. And I think this book is just so special to me because of how much I love like fantasy stuff like that, and it kind of connects me to my mom, and I just love having this and having like a piece of her in my room. This is my desk. For the longest time, I had just a folding table in here, and I absolutely hated it. It would shake when I would do stuff. I hardly had any room to put things on there, so I absolutely love having this desk. Also, this desk was designed and partly made by me and mostly made by my dad. So I designed this desk and gave the idea to my dad, said, hey, could we make this desk maybe? And he went with it and said, sure, let's do it. And now I have this desk in here. The wood on it is actually wood that is from my parents' property, which is cool. It's like almost all completely made out of the wood from my parents' property. Maybe just not the desk top, but the whole desk part is. It's really cool having this in here, knowing that it's something that I helped make and that my dad made, and then it's a piece of my childhood because it was on the property that I grew up on. So I just really love this desk. I have a lot of feelings about this desk and I never want to get rid of it. And it is my workspace, and it's where I spend a lot of time, a lot of hours, and I love it because it doesn't shake. It's very solid, and it has the storage that I need and the desk space that I need. The desk itself has 3 drawers that I wanted to make kind of like apothecary-style drawers to fit with the theme of the room. This drawer doesn't have any handles. I'll give you a better shot of it in a second here. There is this huge drawer which I can store so much in. I put my paint palette in here, which I was talking about how gross it is. This is my paint palette. And I put my these are like my go-to paint brushes that I use for like painting like miniature things. And so I have that in here. It looks messy, but to me this is organized. And I have my go-to clay in here and some packaging things in here and stickers in here and just like a bunch of random things that I like use all the time that I can just quickly grab when I'm sitting at my desk. I'm not wandering around the room. Wandering around the room is a little dangerous for me because I get sidetracked and I don't come back to the desk as soon as I probably should. The chair that I have here is from FlexiSpot. I actually just got this recently and I love it. It's so comfortable. Not a sponsor, by the way, so I am giving this recommendation and getting a FlexiSpot chair on my own accord. I think it works really well. I have a lot of issues with chairs. I hate sitting in them, and I like to put my feet up on chairs. And so when I can't do that, I end up getting like back pains. But this chair, even when I don't put my feet up, I don't get back pains because there's like so much support in it and there's a nice backrest. Chair itself is big enough that I can put my feet up if I need to. So it worked out perfect. Over here on my desk is this little pasta maker thing. It's to work the clay and also flatten it. I also use it to create colors with clay. If I want to like create a different, like a specific color, I will use this to blend the colors together to make that color. Here's my camera, some equipment, some Osmos, which I'm using right now to film, some attachments and stuff like that here. And then I have this little mushroom painting, which I got from M Palace Studio. She creates like really cute fairy and whimsical paintings. And here are some figurines that I got from people I follow on Instagram. Some very talented artists are in here, including one from Newt. She created that one, and then she got me that one from another artist. So I don't know who made that, but I like displaying all these little things as part of my artist collection here. And I want to fill it with even more artist creations. I just have to find the right ones that fit with my taste. And we have my little candle here, just gives it a cozy feel. And this little thing made by Newt, which is so cute. It has little ghosts and a gnome and moss and mushrooms, like all my favorite things she put into one thing. It's amazing. And then I made this little like mushroom lamp light thing. And this is my idea journal. So I put all my ideas in this journal here. So things like my fairy houses, my peak pals, they all go in here. And that's where I keep all my ideas. I'll write ideas ahead of time and then just have like a list of things I can create. And then if I'm bored and don't know what to do, I can go back to it and create something that I haven't before. Also, never complete journals, and that one's halfway full, which is amazing. And then I have this arcane painting here that I love. I just have it on my desk so I can stare at it sometimes. It's just so cute and wholesome. And then this is my little mushroom vacuum. As a clay artist, I highly recommend having a little tiny hand vacuum on your desk. It makes such a big difference. You can easily clean things up, and there's always pieces and particles on the desk, and it's important to have a clean space when you're working with clay because it will get stuck to the clay. Then I have my different tools here, and over here I have my cleaning alcohol, and I got a little peak pal on him because I might as well just have my products all around my room. And then I am currently working on this project for myself. It's a little dwarf character. I had been wanting a Hirono figure for a long time, and I finally got one, and I loved it. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? I should try making a little figurine for myself. And I had a character in mind from a D&D. I had created this character. It's a little dwarf. She is a druid, and she's very cute. Her name is Mole, and she can change into a mole because druids can change into animals. And she also has like a little mole that she carries around with her, which I don't know if you can see all her little details there. There's her little mole there. And then she's got little mole feet because she doesn't like completely change back when she changes back to being a human. And she loves nature and the topsoil, and she's supposed to be living in the ground in the mines with the other dwarves, but she always loved to wander up to the top and is not good with directions and cannot find her way back. So now she's stuck at the top. And this is her little outfit. She's coming out really great. I'm basically done with her. She has this little hood that I had on my desk. So this is her little hood that she wears. I wanted to make it removable so you could see her hair and stuff like that. And there she is. Little mole. This is my UV light here. I have kind of just done different stuff to make it how I need it to be. So if you can see here, I have it up on like these homemade stilts that are just taped together, popsicle sticks. And then I have these popsicle sticks here that I can hang stuff on, so things can hang in here. Then on the wall over here, we have a little mushroom basket, which my sister got for me. And I love that little mushroom basket. I think it's so cute, and I love that I was able to hang it up in here because it really adds to the whole aesthetic of the room. And I do take it on mushroom hunts and use it to collect mushrooms because it's really good to have like a basket when you collect mushrooms, because when you put the mushrooms into the basket, the spores can release through the cracks of the basket. So you wouldn't want to have something solid to put them in, like a solid bag. You'd want to have like a mesh bag or a basket. And this basket is like a backpack, and it has like backpack straps, so you can just like have it on your back. And I feel like a little gnome trudging through the forest in my little basket backpack. And then below that is a bag that Newt got me that looks like a leaf, and it's like made out of leather. It's so cool. I think it's like a very good display piece because it's so pretty, but I also wear it to like run fairs and stuff like that, and I should wear it out more, but I'm afraid of like ruining it because it's so cool and I don't want to mess anything up on it. And I think it looks really good in here too. So I kind of have it hanging on my wall a lot. Sorry, Newt. It's not that I don't want to wear it. It's that I love it so much on my wall that I don't want to take it down. And we have our dried flowers and dried mushrooms. These are actually real dried mushrooms on the wall that I've stuck with the sticky tack. And I have dried morels mushrooms hanging over the window, which I found on our own property here. So that is my apothecary art studio. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do have a closet in here, but it's a total mess. And there's just like random things in there for packaging, and that's really all it is. Like I said before, I don't waste things very often, so especially when it comes to packaging. So I collect a lot of boxes and like paper and stuff like that so that I am not just throwing it away and creating more waste, and I reuse it. So my closet is just full of that kind of stuff, so I'm not going to show it. And I did actually want to show one more thing. It's the door. It has mushrooms on the door, and Newt got me that. Anyways, I just wanted to show that. Thank you for watching this tour on my apothecary studio. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe got some inspiration from it, maybe if you like fantasy things and maybe you didn't know how to style your studio in a way that could be fantasy style. So maybe this helped. I will be making more changes to the studio later on. I want to do something with the ceiling that could be really cool. I want to change the light fixture in the ceiling. I had this idea to put this foam board on the ceiling and hang plants from it, whether that's fake plants or dried plants, I'm not sure. I'll probably be putting more stuff on the walls. I want to fill out more of this wall behind me and all the gaps. And yeah, there'll be more changes along the way, and maybe I'll share those. Maybe I'll just give them to myself, I don't know. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this and more art content from myself and Newt, please hit subscribe. We would love to have more friends. Okay,